Hello everyone, welcome to Tathastu and welcome to our class wherein we are going to do is the daily current affairs MCQs which is being presented by me. My name is Khushboo. Let's get started with today's class, but a little bit of information, and the best information is that today only the philosophy batch, second batch has been started by our honorable, beautiful and smart ma'am, Dr. Tanujan ma'am. Apart from that, you can enroll in any of these courses as well. Even now you can join definitely, because today was the orientation class. In order to get the complete information related to any of these, you can definitely visit our tathastuics.com, this website, and apart from that you can call on these numbers or you can visit us. You can come to our office also. Okay, whichever way you feel better, accordingly you can do. Let's get started with the very first question of the day, and the first question is related to Skill India Digital Platform, SID platform. The very first question, the very first statement is, this serves as India's digital public infrastructure for fostering skills, education, employment, and the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Second is, it represents a collaborative effort between the Ministry of Women and Child Development and the Ministry of Education. Third is, what the primary objective. The primary objective of this platform is to offer cost-free formal schooling to individuals of all ages, which includes the adults and the school age children as well. So it is related to this particular platform, that is the SID, Skill India Digital. How many of these statements are correct over here? Okay, so choose accordingly, and the correct statement basically it is asking. Here the answer of this question is a statement A, right? So that only one statement is correct over here. That is the first statement. First of all, we will check out that why it is a news. It is a news because the government has recently launched the Skill India digital for transforming skill, because in the name itself you can find out that it is actually related to skilling India, related to the digital stuff. Okay, so in order to digitize everything, so transforming skill, education, entrepreneurship landscape of India, which is very important in the coming days and even now also. If you are not upskilling yourself according to the requirement, and apart from that, if you are not getting along with the digital thing which is actually being introduced every then and now, the AI, the computers, then you will, not the computers, but you will become obsolete, which is really very important, that you need to be very much, comfortable with all these kind of things. You are supposed to do that, right? Now the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship recently unveiled this thing. Okay, so this ministry is actually involved, right? Now apart from that, let's talk about this particular digital public infrastructure. So Skill India Digital, it actually serves as the India's digital public infrastructure, which will be encompassing this skilling related to the digital thing only, education, employment, and the entrepreneurship also. Because if you are having all these kind of things, education and the skilling is required, education and the skilling is there, then definitely you can generate the employment if you are doing this thing. If you will become any kind of entrepreneur related to this thing, then definitely, because in nowadays you can see that YouTube, simple platform, it is also generating so many kind of, so different types of job profiles, a lot many, and thanks to the digitization, otherwise all these profiles wouldn't have been possible without them, right? Now it consolidates the various skilling initiatives into a unified platform wherein you can get all these kind of things at one place only. And this is the online skill development program. Okay, this is also important thing. So this is a cutting edge. What do you mean by this cutting edge? Cutting edge is not like, you are cutting edge of something. Cutting edge, it means the new technology, right? So it is a new kind of technology, cutting edge online training platform dedicated to skill, reskill, and upskill. You can skill yourself, you can reskill yourself, you can upskill yourself. Okay, for all these kind of things you can do this, and this is available to the Indian individuals. Okay, Now let's move on to the next question of the day. It is related to the one nation, one election. With reference to one nation, one election, consider the following statements. The very first one is that this concept pertains to conducting elections for both state assemblies and the Lok Sabha at the same time, rather than conducting them separately and continuously. Second is, such an approach would enhance the government's level of responsibility. Third is, implementing simultaneous elections would necessitate amending Article 83 of the Indian Constitution. I have already covered this thing in our DNA. If you had listened to me very carefully, you could have answered this thing very easily. We had discussed so many editorials on this one nation, one election. Here the answer to this question is option B. The two statements are correct. The second statement is wrong. First of all, we will see that why it is news. It is in news because of this. One nation, one election, a blow to the federalism, a challenge to implement. Okay, this is the one which we related to this only. This question has been framed. So as we see that the second statement is actually incorrect over here. When it comes to conducting elections simultaneously, it would actually diminish the government's level of accountability, as regular state elections functions as a crucial feedback mechanism for political parties. Now how? I had actually explained in my DNA, but I'll be doing it in a brief over here also. Like, see, suppose that this is a state, right, and this is the center over here. Central government is over here. This is the state government, right? Whenever the central government see, and suppose that in the state itself there is some kind of anarchy, and the state government is actually not able to control anything. There is nothing which is under their control. They are not able to handle anything, right? Whatever is going on, the riots are going on, and the people are fighting, people are being killed, a lot many things are happening. And after this thing, what will government will do? What the governor will do? Governor will actually ask for the president's role, because the things are not good actually. In a very simple term, if I have to explain, so it is not at place as it is supposed to be done, and it will be said that the government is actually not capable enough to handle the situation as of now, right? So all these kind, and before that also a lot of measures will be taken. If all those things failed, then definitely the last solution left as of now is the president's rule. So that president's rule will be applied. Okay, and within that it is also there that once the president's rule is there, so the government is supposed to, the central government is supposed to make sure this thing, and especially the election commission is actually comes over here. The role of these people actually plays over here. So the election are supposed to be held as soon as possible. Then now the second government, the next government will be there. The next party will, whichever party will win, they will be forming the government, and then they'll try to obviously govern in a very proper way as per the constitution, as per the rules and regulation. All those things will be done, right? So this is something which is available as of now. But once the simultaneous elections will be there, so this is the kind of you can say the problem or the challenge, or you can say the kind of confusion which is actually being faced by the people. What if the same kind of situation happens in the future? And definitely this will happen. Riots will be there, definitely a lot of things, anything could happen. You are supposed to be ready for everything, right? If something like that happen, when it comes to the simultaneous elections, we won't be able to come up with the no confidence motion. We cannot do that. We won't be having president's rule also. Then what? The same government is supposed to run for the another, suppose it's been only 2 years, and after that this kind of situation happened. So for the next 3 years they will be continuing, even if they are not having any kind of confidence. Then also, then what? Right? So this is the kind of question which is actually being raised, and the same thing has been mentioned over here. Okay, so that was something which is related to this. Okay, fine. Now let's move on to the next question. Global stocktake report. Yesterday only I explained this in our DNA again. Here the very first statement is it relates to the suggested evaluation every 5 years to assess the effectiveness of nations' efforts in addressing climate change. Second is, according to the Paris Agreement, each country is obligated to submit a climate action plan at intervals of 2 years. So which of these statements are correct according to the global stocktake report? Here the answer of this is option A. Okay, the statement 1 is correct over here, the second statement is wrong. Okay, now this global stocktake report, recently it has been released. So global efforts falling short of climate goals, says this UN report. Now what it is, which report it is talking about? It is talking about this global stocktake report only. Global efforts falling short of climate goals. So climate goals, COP, Conference of Parties, which actually held in the Paris, and at that time they had decided that we are actually dedicating ourselves, that we won't let happen this thing, and what that is the 1.5 degrees Celsius. We are not going to touch that. We are not going to heat up our earth up to that limit. We will be trying in order to reduce it. We won't be doing anything which is actually going to touch that threshold. Okay, we are not going to do that. Okay, so that the climate goals, here it is being said that all the countries which are the signatories, whatever they had committed, that by 2030 we are going to do this, by 2050 we are going to do this, right? All these kind of things, all of them actually fall short of whatever they had committed. They had committed that we will be doing this thing, we will be at this particular point. Like you people also set targets that in this whole week I will be covering this. Okay, but you haven't covered that. Just a few percentage, you can say this 10 to 20 30% of the things whichever you had targeted, that only you have covered. Okay, so just like that only, here also they have assessed the goals which the countries had set up, and now where they stand actually. So this global stocktake report is actually talking about that only. And in November in Dubai, again the conference of parties are going to be held, and there they will be discussing about this thing. Okay, so as per the Paris Agreement, the initial global assessment was scheduled for the 2023, and this assessment will aid in gauging whether additional efforts are necessary on global scale and to what extent, what we are supposed to do extra, and at what level, to what extent we are supposed to do that. That is supposed to be done according to the report presented. Okay, so this is what it is actually talking about. Let's move on to the next question, that is related to Nipah virus. Again, ma'am, you are referring only your DNA, but because I have covered, then definitely I will be doing that, right? So it is related to Nipah virus. I had covered this in yesterday's DNA itself. The very first question is that Nipah virus is a zoonotic virus, meaning it can spread from animals to humans, and it can also be transmitted through contaminated food or directly from person to person. Second statement, its initial identification occurred in 1999 during an outbreak among individuals involved in pig farming in Malaysia. Third statement, currently there are no available treatments or vaccines for either humans or animals affected by this virus. So you have to find out that how many of these statements are correct. If you had listened to my DNA yesterday, then you could very easily answer this question. Answer of this question is option C. All of these are correct. Why Nipah virus is so much in news? Because recently we had seen a few cases over there in the Kerala. So Nipah virus outbreak in Kerala, COVID era like containment zones back in Kozhikode district. So in the Kozhikode itself, 2 deaths were actually identified because of this Nipah virus. Why Nipah virus? People fear Nipah virus so much because the death rate is really very dangerous. The fatality rate is really very dangerous. It's about 40% to up to 75% of people, they actually lose their life because of Nipah virus. That's the reason over here. The very first time it was actually observed in 1999 in a village which actually is known as Nipah, and hence the name Nipah virus, and where in Malaysia. There are currently no treatments or vaccines available which could be accessible for either humans or the animals affected by this virus. And yes, this virus is zoonotic. Zoonotic means what? It actually spreads from animals to humans, and from one to another one, whoever is actually contaminated. It could be contaminated food, it could be contaminated anything. If you are consuming some animal which has been infected by this virus, then definitely it will get into you also. Okay, so this is something which is related to this one. Okay, now let's move on to the next, and this question is related to Mitakshara law. This is the last question of the day. The very first statement is, the Mitakshara school of Hindu law outlines guidelines for the process of inheritance and succession. Second is, according to its principles, a son, grandson and a great son inherit family property by virtue of their birth. Third is, Mitakshara school of law is followed by every state in India except for Punjab and Haryana. How many of these statements are correct over here? You are supposed to answer this. Now the answer to this question is option B. 2 statements are correct, that is the first and the second statement. Third statement is incorrect, because when it comes to the Mitakshara law, all the states are actually following except the states West Bengal and Assam. Why it is in news? Because of this thing. Children born, this is the judgment given by Supreme Court, so that is why this is actually highlighted. Children born out of void or avoidable marriages have right on parents' ancestral property also, because the children are not are not wrong. Basically, you did something wrong, because of that the children are not supposed to be suffered. Mitakshara school of law is a renowned legal doctrine that actually that delineates the processes governing succession and inheritance, that who and how the inheritance can inherit the property, and apart from that, who is going to succeed also. The succession thing is also been mentioned over there. So this was all related to our daily current affairs MCQs. I hope you people enjoyed. See you in the next video. Bye bye, take care and have a great time. Good night. Jai Hind.